A Colorado paramedic faces a manslaughter charge for the death of a man in Boulder late last year. The news of the criminal case broke just after 1:30 this afternoon.
The paramedic, according to the Boulder County District Attorney's Office, did something that is widely seen in the EMS community as improper when transporting a patient. For more on that, let's get right to 9 News Investigates reporter Chris Vanderveen. And Chris, this appears to be a prone restraint-related death, something that you have spent years investigating.
Kim, it does. Prone is just another word for face-down restraint. The dangers of prolonged prone restraint are now well known, and the warnings to both law enforcement and EMS are now decades old. Almost certainly explains why the DA made the unusual decision to charge a paramedic with manslaughter. That paramedic's name is Edward McClure. He wasn't the only person who interacted with the victim in this case, but prosecutors believe his decision to do what we're about to show you was instrumental in leading to the man's death. As of now, we only have a pair of still frames from body camera recordings, so it's a little tough to make out what you're seeing here. But this is a man named Jesus Lopez Barcenas. Back in December, he'd been acting bizarrely when police arrested him. He was given a sedative as well. The key here is his position. He is face down, strapped down with his torso and head lifted up in a gurney as it's being used to transport him. There's also a picture of him in the back of an ambulance. Again, face down, strapped down. This time with a split hood over his head. He died. His heart stopped in the back of that ambulance. Spoke to a nationally recognized EMS trainer on the phone within the hour. He said the position here is key and is well discussed in the paramedic community to not do this. We've documented more than 100 prone restraint deaths across the U.S. Charges are very rare in these deaths, but they have become more common. And as you can imagine, Kim, this is a case that brings up the ghost of Elijah McClain. We've seen this in the past. Colorado has shown a willingness to charge people, and we're now seeing another instance in Boulder County.
And the many stories that you've told, and when we hear from these family members, gut-wrenching. I think sometimes people associate it just with police, but we remember Elijah McClain, paramedics too.
It really is that sort of combination of sedative and then the prone restraint. And what is so bizarre is this idea that is so well established within the EMS community to not do this. And so that has to be instrumental in the DA's decision to bring a very serious charge against a paramedic. You can imagine they don't like to do this because they're just trying to save lives. But in this instance, it appears as if the DA believed that the conduct was so egregious in his mind that something else had to be done on a criminal nature.
Yeah, it's a big decision on their behalf. We know you'll follow it. Thanks, Chris.
We will.
Right now, a flood watch in northeastern Colorado. Live look at downtown Fort Morgan. Doesn't look like anything happening right now. The flood watch, though, is extending through into the night, into tomorrow morning, as we keep an eye of all the storms rolling through northern Colorado. That includes Fort Morgan, Sterling, Akron, and Julesburg.
So let's get right to your forecast. In fact, Corey Reppenhagen, you have been tracking where those storms might be popping up. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, not a whole lot of activity just yet. There are some storms up there in the northeast corner, but it's going to be a long night because we could see storms well into the night and even possibly after midnight. Potential for some very heavy rain. The statewide radar is not too concerning right now. The only severe thunderstorm is down here in Pueblo County. We've had some interesting developments in the area, just nothing in the way of actual storms. But really what concerns me the most is what's happening out here in the mountains. You see these very tiny little showers out here. When you add the lightning, you can see all this dry lightning again happening all around the high country. And instead of the western slope this time, it's in the bulk of the mountains. So we have dry thunderstorms. We have a flood watch up in the northeast corner where flash flooding will be possible. Not too much action just yet, but like I said, that's going to be a long night of watching storms. We have a circulation developing in here, the Denver metro area. We call that locally the Denver cyclone, and that has a potential and a history of producing storms, but we have not seen anything really come to fruition just yet, but we could get storms in the Denver area as well. And then tomorrow, we'll have a lot less opportunity to see storms. We will see them, but look at these temperatures possibly topping out in the middle 80s for us tomorrow. So we've got a lot to talk about as far as that severe weather that we're watching for tonight, and I'll continue that conversation here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Corey. An update to a story we brought you as breaking news yesterday. A person shot by police in Wheatidge has died. Police say this happened when an officer recognized a suspect with a felony warrant near 32nd and Youngfield. The officer tried to stop the person. That person took off. Wheatidge police say the officer ran after them, but there was a struggle and the officer shot the suspect. The person later died at the hospital. Wheatidge police say a gun was recovered at the scene. The officer was not hurt.
A woman died this morning during the Hard Rock 100 near Little Giant Basin. This was just west of Silverton in San Juan County. Officials identified her as 60-year-old Elaine Stipula of Michigan. Search and rescue teams for a call for an unknown medical call just after 9 this morning occurred, and they confirmed she died an hour and a half later. No other information about her death was released. The Hard Rock Run shared they will be offering grief counselors at the Silverton Gym. Colorado Springs police are asking for your help tonight. Take a look at your screen. They are looking to identify a man found near I-25 in Bijou Street. His remains were found on October 13th of last year. Colorado Springs police aren't investigating this death as a homicide. The coroner's office believes that the man is between 37 and 73 years old, but most likely they believe around 54. Anyone with information should contact Colorado Springs Police or El Paso County Coroner's Office. A man behind bars in Larimer County is accused of defrauding someone he knew out of more than $150,000. Now, the scam came with a promise of a huge payday, but not without paying an outstanding tax bill first.
Turns out it wasn't the first time this man has been accused of doing something like this. Kevin Vaughn with 9 News Investigates joins us. And Kevin, you've been working to unravel this man's history. So what did you find out?
Well, Kim and Sam, according to court records we've obtained, this is at least the 5th time the same man has been accused of running a scam and walking away with other people's money.
This is Vito Genovese, a mob boss who once ruled New York before ending up in prison where he died in 1969. And this is William Ashley Harris, a man who claimed to be Vito Genovese's grandson, claimed to be heir to more than $100 million in Genovese family money. He just needed assistance paying taxes to collect it. Court documents obtained by 9 News Investigates show he convinced a Fort Collins man to give him more than $150,000.
He was cool, like he was Slick Rick, if you will.
Jody De Guevara met Harris nearly 20 years ago.
I worked at a bedding establishment, and he became my best friend and worked on me for months.
Eventually convincing her to take out a loan and invest in a company that was going to rebuild Iraq after the Second Gulf War. The company didn't exist, and Harris took her for $20,000. Other victims for $8,000, $15,000, $18,000. His own family and friends in New York for $300,000.
I'm a kind-hearted person, and to be taken advantage of by someone like that, it makes me really mad.
A Jefferson County judge sentenced him to 8 years in prison. He served 3 before being paroled. It was at least the 3rd time he'd been locked up for scamming people out of their money. De Guevara hopes this latest arrest will be his last.
May he rot in prison, and I'm hope and pray that the system gets him this time and keeps him in there for good.
William Harris is charged with theft between $100,000 and $1 million. He's being held on a $75,000 bail in Larimer County and is due back in court next Wednesday. According to court documents, 2 other people were also involved in this scam. As of now, neither one has been arrested or charged. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
And all that money probably long gone.
Yeah, that woman we talked to today gets periodic restitution payments, some as little as $9, once in a while a couple $100, but it's a fraction of what was taken from her almost 20 years ago now.
Unbelievable. All right. Thank you, Kevin. In Washington tonight, State Department employees are bracing for mass layoffs. Dismissal notices are expected to go out as soon as today. Close to 3,000 employees will either be cut or offered deferred retirement. It's part of President Donald Trump's ongoing effort to downsize the federal government. The layoffs include civil servants and foreign service officers with domestic assignments.
President Trump is ramping up his trade war yet again, taking direct aim at our neighbors to the north in Canada. The president is threatening to impose a 35% tariff on more than half of Canada's exports. It would start on August 1st. This is the latest way to pressure our neighbors to the north to make a deal, and the talks have been on and off again for several months. The president specifically raised the issue of fentanyl coming across the Canadian border, but in reality, his own agency that tracks that found that only a tiny fraction of fentanyl was seized at the Canadian border.